ladies and gentlemen. So I will be presenting to you our topic for this day is all about the limits of a function by the techniques to be used: factorization, rationalization, and simplification. We have 6 problems to be solved today. The first problem here and the last problem here. So we will apply these techniques: factorization, rationalization, simplification, depending on the problem here stated. So let's start with question number 1. So in question number 1, it states that this is the limit of x minus 2 over x squared minus 4 as x approaches to 2. The first thing that we're going to do is we're going to test the denominator. So dapat ang denominator nito, para mag-exist ito, dapat hindi equal to 0. So therefore, we have f of x over g of x. The denominator g of x should not be equal to 0 because it will not exist. In this case, we will define first numerator over denominator. So in this case, our numerator is still n. Ang denominator po natin ay x squared minus 4. So we have n over, our denominator is 2 squared minus 4. We have n over 4 minus 4, that is equal to n over 0. In this case, naging 0 ang ating denominator. So, we will check really if it's still factorable, pwede ba ma-rationalize at ma-simplify ito. So, in this one, let us consider the given. So, limit x minus 2 over x squared minus 4, x approaches to 2. Still, if we're going to look at, this is factorable, right? So, we need to factor this one, x minus 2 over x minus 2, x plus 2. So, this is factorable. So, we could cancel out this part. So, the remaining is 1 over x plus 2. So, we could say that the limit of x minus 2 over x squared minus 4 as x approaches to 2 is equal to the limit of 1 over x plus 2, x approaches to 2. So if we're going to substitute this one, so since hindi sa mag-equate ng 0, 1 over 2 plus 2, so therefore 1 over 4. So we could say that the limit exists. So in this case, the limit exists considering that the first substitution, when you substitute the value for n over d, it equated to 0. But still, we could find ways that the limit would become exist by factorization. So okay, so factorization po. So on this rule, we have factorization. We apply factorization. So that is in case number 1. So in case number 2, okay, in example number 2, we have the limit of x plus 2 over x squared minus 4 as x approaches to 2. So first thing that we're going to do again is we're going to find our n over d by substitution. So our n over 2 squared minus 4, still the answer is n over 4. N over 4 minus 4, that is equal to n over 0. So we have to find another way. It could be factorization so that we will test really kung ano ba ito, exist ba ang limit. So by the use of factorization, let us try limit x plus 2 over x squared minus 4 as x approaches to 2. So if we're going to check this one, x plus 2 over x minus 2, x plus 2. So we need to cancel this part. This is 1 over x minus 2. If you're going to repeat it back, so x plus 2, rewrite this, x squared minus 4, as x approaches to 2, is equal to the limit of 1 over x minus 2 as x approaches to 2. The result would be 1 over 2 minus 2, that is 1 over 0. In this case, we could say that the limit does not exist. So, in this case, the limit does not exist even though we factored all this part. And we take note the first step is by substitution, then still we can factor. But even though we factored it 1, the limit does not exist as x approaches to 2. That is case number 2. Okay. So, next, number 3. So, we have here 3 variations of the problem with somewhat like ang problem. So, limit as x plus 2 over x squared plus 4. So, this is problem number 3. So, ito po ating problem number 3, x plus 2, x approaches to 2. So, in this case, we will write this one. So, x approaches to 2. Okay. So, ating gagamitin po n over d by substitution. So, n numerator over denominator, which is 2 squared plus 4. So, this will become n over 8. Since the denominator is not equal to 0, so we will just simply substitute to the given value, which is x approaches to 2. So, in this case, we have limit x plus 2 over x squared plus 4 as x approaches to 2, that is equal to 2 plus 2 over 2 squared plus 4. That is 4 over 4 plus 4, that is 4 over 8, that is equal to 1/2. So therefore, we could say the limit exists. Okay, so the limit exists in this case in number 3. So get at the point. So in this case number 3, since n over 8 hindi nag-0 siya, so therefore we have to substitute immediately to the given value here, this one. Okay, shall we now proceed with number 4? In number 4, this is our number 4 problem, limit x minus 16 over the square root of x minus 4 as x approaches to 16. We will rewrite this problem. So here we have, this is number 4, limit x minus 16 over square root of x minus 4 as x approaches to 16. So by our process, we have n over d, numerator over denominator. So dapat hindi maging 0 ang ating denominator para mag-exist ito. Pag nag-0, we will find ways on how to make it exist, if possible, kung possibly pa mag-exist ba ang limit. Pag hindi na, equal 1 over 0 still, even though you factored it or you simplified it. But in this case, let's try first by the substitution method. So we have n over 16 approaches, so square root of 16 minus 4. So we have n over 4 minus 4. The resulting one is n over 0. So since nag-0 siya, let's try the techniques to be used here. We have factorization, rationalization, simplification. So it falls like this. In this case, it could be rationalization. So we have to rationalize this part. So limit x minus 16 over the square root of x minus 4 as x approaches to 16. So we need to rationalize this concept. Rationalize ko ito. So x minus 16 over the square root of x minus 4 times, how to rationalize? So x squared, square root of x plus 4 over square root of x plus 4. So the conjugate of this part. So we have to equate this one. So multiply x minus 16, then the square root of x plus 4. At denominator part, this is in algebra concept, which is square root of x minus 4 times the square root of x plus 4. This is in the form of a minus b and a plus b. So therefore, you have a squared minus b squared. So by just multiplying the a versus the a and b versus the b. So this is become x and negative 4 times 4, that is equal to negative 16. So we have to cancel this part. So now we could consider that the limit of x minus 16 over the square root of x minus 4 as x approaches to 16 is equal to limit of the square root of x plus 4 as x approaches to 16. So this part, close and open parenthesis because it is plus. So we'll just simply substitute the square root of 16 plus 4. So we have 4 plus 4, that is equal to 8. So therefore, limit exists. Okay. So, okay. Number 5. So in number 5, this is the problem number 5. Limit of 1 minus 1 over x minus 1. We will just copy as x approaches to 1. So limit 1 minus 1 over x minus 1 as x approaches to 1. So we will have first n over d, numerator over denominator. So our numerator n over denominator, which is x here 1 approaches, so 1 minus 1. So therefore n over 0. So at this time, hindi natin ma-determine kung exist ba siya kasi d is denominator is equal to 0. But we have to look for simplification. In this part, we have to simplify. Okay, simplify first. So 1 minus 1 over x minus 1. So if we're going to simplify this, so this is x, the denominator, which is x minus 1 over x minus 1. So take the reciprocal, x minus 1 over x times 1 over x minus 1. So cancel this part. The remaining is 1 over x. So we could say that the limit of 1 minus 1 over x minus 1 as x approaches to 1 is equal to the limit of 1 over x as x approaches to 1. So therefore, by simple substitution, 1 over 1, that is equal to 1. So therefore, we could say that limit exists. Okay? In number 5, limit exists. In number 6, we are now in number 6. Our problem for number 6 is limit of x plus square root of x plus 3 minus 1 over 2x squared minus 1 as x approaches to 1. So we will just copy here. So limit square root of x plus 3 minus 1 over 2x squared minus 1 as x approaches to 1. Okay. So first thing is n over d. So what is our n? Let's try for n. And denominator, which is 2, 1 squared minus 1. So we have n over 2 minus 1. So therefore, we have n over 1. So in this case, the denominator is not equal to 0. So therefore, just simply substitute to the given value. So the limit of the square root of x plus 3 minus 1 over 2x squared minus 1 as x approaches to 1 is equal to, by just simply substituting, 1 plus 3 minus 1 over 2 times 1 squared minus 1. So, square root of 4 minus 1 over 2 minus 1. Do you have 2 minus 1 over 2 minus 1? The answer is 1. Okay, so therefore, limit exists. So in this case, n over 1, so therefore, the denominator is not equal to 0, so simply substitute to the given. So therefore, in number 6, the limit exists. So if we're going to look back in number 1, this is the result of number 1. So we have limit exists. So n over 0, so by the use of factorization, we have here the result, limit exists. In number 2, limit does not exist even though we factored it and we use the substitution n over 0, but still the resulting part, we have 1 over 0, still the limit does not exist. By our substitution method, still naging 0 siya, but we factored it, but still the limit does not exist or defined at x is equal to 2. So in number 3, so limit as x plus 2x squared plus 4. So n over 8 ang resulta niya. So therefore, we could say that we have to simply substitute it to the given value. So by just simply substituting, the result is 1/2. So therefore, the limit exists. In number 4 po, so we have the limit of x minus 16 over the square root of x n over d. So if we're going to substitute here by the use of our concept, which is substitution in the denominator part, so we have n over 0. So x minus 16, the square root of x minus 4. So if we're going to rationalize this one, the resulting part of this one is equal to this part, square root of x plus 4 over square root of x plus 4. So we have x minus 16, because we're going to multiply that one, right? So x squared plus square root of x plus 4, x minus 16. By the use of the concept of algebra, which is ab times a plus b, the resulting one is a squared plus b squared, we come up with this one. That's why it's easy for you to multiply if you have the knowledge about algebra, x minus 16. So since we have here the last part, so limit of x minus 16, the square root of x minus 4 is equal to this part, limit of x square root of x plus 4, x approaches to 16. So just simply substitute. So therefore, the limit exists at this part as x approaches to 16. So in this case, simplification. So pag pwede pa natin ma-simplify, so we have to simplify when the resulting one is n over 0. But when this is not n is over 0, just simply substitute. But when n is over 0, we have to find ways baka po mag-exist pa ang limit when possible pa. So simplify this one. So we have here 1 over x. So x approaches to 1 is equal to this part. So 1 over 1. So therefore, nag-exist siya kahit na n over 0 siya. Kasi by the use of simplification. And in number 6 class, we have here number 6. So by the use of this concept, so n over denominator, numerator over denominator, we come up po na n over 1. So in this concept, we could simply say that we just have to substitute in the given value kasi n over 1 sa hindi siya nag-0. So therefore, x square root of x plus 3 minus 1, 1 plus 3 minus 1, 2 times 1 squared minus 1, the square root of 4 minus 1, 2 minus 1, 1. So therefore, limit exists. So I hope everyone, you will enjoy this moment. So I will be giving you a problem to be solved, and just comment your answer below. Okay, so try this one on your house or home. So try to comment your answer below. What is your answer? And I will just give a heart for those who could answer. So just comment there on my YouTube account. Thank you for watching. I hope you learned something. something today. Thank you and God bless. Hello guys, thank you for watching and hope you learned something today. And please don't forget to subscribe Sergio's Math Class.